Well, howdy, y'all. Coming at you on Super Bowl Sunday with my OSU football, getting pumped for the game here. But I did want to check in and give you video lecture 4. So this week we're talking basically about just kind of writing and setting up your essays and structuring essays. And it's going to be a bit of a brief video lecture this week because I really want you to mainly be working on your essays. So hopefully you're continuing writing, continuing going with your ideas. I am going to be getting on your rough drafts as soon as I get done with this. I'll get back to grading those, or not grading them, reading them. And what I'm going to be doing is just kind of giving you some comments, telling you what you're doing right, telling you what you need to work on, and hopefully getting you ready to give me the best possible final draft next week. Okay, so but I do want to do a few things. First of all, keep up with your blogs, keep up with your reading quizzes, doing all that stuff. Doing great. The reading quizzes look great. The blogs look great. I'm really enjoying reading those and trying to comment on as many as I can as quickly as I can. But I'll keep up with that as long as you do. Let's see. We'll get your drafts returned to you by Wednesday, hopefully, and then you can keep working with those. Shoot me an email if you have any questions. But there are a couple of other things I want to do today, and we'll get into those right now. Alright, in this video, first we're going to start by talking about some things I want you to look specifically at in this week's reading. Just give you some ideas of things to be reading for. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about integrating sources, about using the sources that you found in your paper. We're going to look a little bit at signal phrases and just a little bit at the kind of cited work you need to do for this particular paper. So those are going to be the big things there. So this week as you're reading, first I want you to read my essay, the formal essay, A Theory, which talks about the essay as a relationship, just to get a feel for kind of the basic structure of what a paper is. That's what you were looking at there. The next thing you'll read in your guide will be Chapter 10 about the 3 argument structures, which will present more complex ways of thinking about your essays. And really you want to pay most attention to the fact that writing is really a series of choices that you make, and so I want you to be thinking about the choices that you make and being aware of the choices that you make in your writing process as you construct these things. That's what it's all about. Then you're going to read chapters 1 through 6 of the Norton Field Guide. The first 5 chapters should be sort of a review of basic things that you learned probably in Comp 1. Pay particular attention to chapter 6 where they talk about the characteristics of academic writing. I'm going to really, again, point your quizzes toward the things that I think are important there, so be sure you read that carefully. Now I want to go ahead and talk about integrating sources. Obviously, anytime you're using sources in an essay, you need to be sure that it's clear what information comes from what source. So we're going to talk about my suggestions for that today, and the easiest way to do this, as far as I'm concerned, whether you use MLA, APA, Chicago, whatever, is by using signal phrases to identify your sources. So I want to talk specifically about what signal phrases are. They're the most efficient and readable way to cite a source as far as I'm concerned. Here's where you can find stuff about signal phrases in your Norton Field Guide, page 471 to 474. They'll give you a basic idea what it is. It's those phrases that you come across in writing where somebody says, you know, according to so-and-so, or so-and-so says. Now here I've given you a couple examples of bad ways to incorporate sources and good ways. The first way is what we call a dropped quotation, where you just have the quotation there and then the source's name and information in parentheses. That's just hard to read because you have to get into the parentheses. It's far better to say, Ben Smith says, or argues, or whatever. This is using a signal phrase, and it's far more readable. It's far more effective. Obviously, it makes it easier for you, makes it easier for your reader, because you've got the author's name normally with these good credible sources, and it all corresponds. So readers know who you're citing and can either keep reading or check your works cited page. Whereas if you just put it in parentheses and don't use a signal phrase, then they have to get into the parentheses, and it becomes harder to read. Okay, so we want to make our papers as readable as possible. I recommend always using signal phrases. Then for your works cited page, as you're working on that, obviously your Norton Field Guide is the most helpful thing. If you want to use MLA format, it's going to start on page 484. If you want to use APA, it's going to start on page 533. I don't really care which one you use. You know better what your field uses. That is your major. Probably a lot of you are going to be more APA people, but if you are more comfortable with MLA, that's fine. Either one I can help you with, and you can find in the Norton Field Guide. So pick one and stick to it. I've gone ahead and given you here the page numbers for basic entries for the kinds of things you'll be working with. So once you pick whether you want to work in MLA or APA, then go to the appropriate page number, and you should be able to find everything you need to find about citing your sources for Essay 1. Obviously, it's going to get more complex as we move on through the semester, but this first essay is just to kind of get you practicing again, building sort of the foundation for what you're doing. And then you can always look at the sample essays to make sure you're setting up your document right, that everything looks good and is appropriately formatted. So pay attention to that. Feel free to review these page numbers and everything about signal phrases again. I think that'll really help you as you're moving forward and coming up with a good final draft of Essay 1. All right, well, hopefully that helped clear some things up about citations and what to do as you're working on your essays now. If you have any other questions, obviously, don't hesitate to ask. Send me an email, Skype me, whatever. I'm available, and I will be ready to talk to you. Again, I'll be commenting on your rough drafts and getting those back to you. We're about to go get out of here and watch the game, and of course by game I mean the Kitten Bowl on the Hallmark Channel right now, and then probably the big game. But here are the things I want you to get done for the rest of the week. Here's your to-do list. So what you're going to do, of course, again, as always, read and take your quizzes. Again, the quizzes are meant to focus your reading on the most important aspects of the things you read. So that's what I'm pointing your attention to with those quizzes. You're all doing very well with those. Keep it up. Keep working on your essays. As soon as you get your draft back from me, I want you to start revising and adding to it. Obviously, you'll get your feedback from me. I'll give you ideas, and then it's on you to communicate with me, and we'll try to get the best work out of each other. Just keep working on those drafts. I can't say that enough. And of course, also don't forget to blog. Once you've done all those things, blog, taken quizzes, and gotten your comments back from me, really you just need to stay in touch if you've got problems, and keep working, keep writing, keep going. As always, let me know if I can help, and I'll talk to you guys next week.